My name is Jacob Crowe, and welcome to the Crow's Perch. From atop my perch, we delve into the latest RPG stories. Future Crowe here, bending space and time to give you a message. The Crow's Perch officially has a Discord server, so go check it out. Post your memes, send your art, as well as any of your story suggestions. And if I like what I see, I might put it in the next video. So thank you. Thank all 300 of you guys now. Oh my god, that's crazy. And I hope to see you on the perch. Alright, now back to the video. Today's story is about a player's experience in playing one-shots with people online on Roll20. And the horrible things they've seen in their journeys. So take wing, my feathered friends, as we gather up a murder and get right into this story. Over the course of last year, I played a lot of one-shots with random people on Roll20, as I had more free time. Some went well, some didn't, and I've got some stories to share. They're short enough that I thought I'd bunch them together to save time. Story the first, in which a bard gets molested. I, female, joined a group with my male tiefling lore bard for a two-shot adventure that had a fun premise. There was a half-elf ranger, also female, and a half-elf rogue, male, a halfling cleric, female, and a half-orc barbarian, female. Lots of halves, I know. It was pretty funny. Of note is that by chance, I was the only player playing a character of opposite gender. We were good until the ranger, played by another girl, started pretty heavy-handedly hitting on my bard. Now, my bard was okay with that at first, but as the adventure progressed, the ranger's behavior put him off more and more, and me out of character. She was consistently rude to NPCs that he was trying to get information out of, trying to pick unnecessary fights when I was trying to avoid them, extremely hostile to NPCs who seemed to like him. She killed his microgriffin familiar once, for laughs, and only half-ass apologized for it, acting like a try-hard edgelord. I will say here that the GM was pretty good about handling this, handing out consequences for this behavior that our party unfortunately had to deal with. At some point, the cleric threatened the ranger with no healing if she screwed us over. The worst happened while we were resting in an inn, on the road between a town and a fortress we had a protected delivery for. By that point, my bard's opinion of the ranger had soured considerably, and he no longer responded to her overtures, except to firmly tell her that she brought that on herself. I played my bard as a savvy and cheeky, but generally chill and wholesome dude who might be attracted to anybody as long as they're basically decent people. He straight up told her that her behavior really put him off. The player got extremely salty. She said, and I quote, "That's bullshit. He's a bard. He's supposed to always horny." She got pushy about it, even though the GM wanted to move along. And then she declared her character to put her hand down my bard's pants. The GM tried to shut her down, but she insisted it was going to be funny, and unfortunately, the barbarian and the rogue thought so too. The ranger, without prompt from the GM, who was furiously messaging me with apologies while trying to shut things down, rolled a strength check to subdue my bard, and rolled really well. My poor 8 strength bard had no chance of beating that, and she tried to launch into what she would do to my character, until the GM informed me that this constituted as an attack. So being a tiefling with the flame of Phlegethos' feet, I hellish rebuked. She started to instantly screech about how I was ruining it for her, and the GM muted her, apologizing profusely to me. Unfortunately, this halted the two-shot after a single session, as the ranger sent me a bunch of abusive messages on Discord before I blocked her. The cleric said this put him off one-shots, and the rogue and barbarian just kind of ghosted the group. Story the second. Things I have learned while playing a female tabaxi monk. Good lord. I seem to run into all the weirdos whenever I decide to play Juju. She is my most light-hearted character, an affectionate homage to the classic kung fu movies and anime memes, hence her moniker, Weebcat. She's a short-arse skinny tabaxi based on the Somali breed of house cat, drunken master, built for speed. For context, I play Juju with a funny accent. I employ liberal Greeklish and a very small and specific set of feline traits. She likes to nap in the sun. She likes climbing to tall places. She gets distracted by quickly moving objects and creatures, or dancing lights laser dots. She's fastidiously clean, and sometimes hisses when she's angry or scared, and purrs when she's pleased. She likes to eat all the carbs, and drinks like a fish. But man, over the course of several one-shots, she has seen things. Number 1. There was one that guy who got upset that I described Juju as very feline in appearance, and not as an anime-style catgirl. Sorry, that guy. Thanks, but yeah, thanks. He got further upset when I clarified that Juju has practically no boobs because she's just that lean and binds up well.
Flat is justice.
And I don't mean that he was just salty. He complained for 15 minutes straight about it, while the GM was making some changes to a combat encounter due to spontaneous decisions of the party. Even the GM told him to can it. He didn't kick the guy because I think they were friends in real life, and one of the players snapped at him. Number 2, there was this other that guy who wanted to play a homebrew kitsune sorcerer in an Asian setting game. As an aside for all his faults, the GM put a lot of work into this setting. I give him kudos for that, and decided to be as creepy as possible about it. He described her as a painfully stereotypical anime waifu with a tiny waist and a huge bosom, and an overly elaborate dress, and flip-flopped between putting down my tabaxi for not being cuter and flirting with her, which, given that Juju's kind of dense, went right over her head. I was getting more and more uncomfortable with how explicit his descriptions about how his character acted were. He described her spell casting as, well, orgasmic. Ew.
Now that's what I call cringe.
She poured cream in a bowl and offered it to Juju by putting it on the floor and going, pss, 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 here kitty, which actually pissed Juju off because I'd already stated that she finds that kind of thing super offensive. He was extremely salty when Juju snapped at his character and started avoiding her entirely. The GM let all that weird shift go on because I guess that was funny to him. Did not play with this group again after that session. Number 3, there was that girl who insisted I was not playing Juju properly, because Tabaxi act way more cat-like than I was playing Juju up to, and kept trying to correct me. Her paladin was also dead convinced that Juju was a liar and a thief, because all Tabaxi are liars and thieves. Some Tabaxi are thieves, other Tabaxi are misportrayed by stereotypes. That's like if Tabaxi said, all humans are racist pieces of Incidentally, the drow rogue always quipped with, am I dead to you? At those comments, which I found funny. She also hated the accent I was using for Juju, even though the GM and all the other players were fine, and even amused by it. I actually ran it past them all before we started, and she said she was okay then. But midway through the session, she just started to go off about it, saying she wanted to play D&D, not listen to some, oh god,
To some flocking Middle Eastern immigrant talking funny.
this. Don't let this in your fucking games. I speak English with a Canadian-ish accent. Juju's accent is pure theater. The GM got pretty pissed at her for that and told her to apologize so we could move on, and told her that if she repeated that kind of stunt, she was out. She refused to apologize, saying it was her right to say that because freedom of speech. And when I informed her that I was in fact Greek, living in Greece, she just said, same difference. Fortunately, the GM kicked her then and there. Good riddance. Number 4. In yet another game, well, I was forced to duel another player even though I had stated multiple times I was not comfortable with PvP, and the GM had said, if anything makes you uncomfortable, let me know. But when I said I wasn't okay with PvP, the GM overruled it, saying, it'll be fun. The challenger, the half-orc barbarian. The cause? He insisted that by tradition of his clan, a man who dueled and beat a woman got to claim said woman for his wife. OP, you sure you're not just cursed at this point? And the GM rolled with it. He said it was interesting. The other players agreed. I said nope, and just quit that game faster than Juju's top running speed. So, there we go. Sorry if this was huge, but these have been piling up for a while, and I wanted to get them off my chest. I think this is a good opportunity to start talking about consent, and the importance of talking about consent when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. It's not enough to simply say these are the things I don't want to have happen to my character, especially when you're playing with randoms, and especially when you're playing online. Sometimes people misconstrue a situation as often as they're just being predatory. I think the ranger in the first story could have been saved, if only she had an understanding of the importance of consent, and that they had some kind of system so that the OP could be able to demonstrate to her when she is going too far. Or at the very least, it would have helped them kick her sooner. People get caught up in this kind of thing all the time. If you've ever browsed through Twitter whenever a new Critical Role episode comes out, well, you know how it be. Romance is considered to be part of the intrigue, and it can be a lot of fun, but in order to make it fun, you have to set up boundaries. There was a really interesting tool made by John Stavropoulos called the X card, and the idea is pretty simple. You have an index card with an X written down on it, and if a player ever draws the card, gestures it towards the DM, or places it at the center of the table, you guys kind of figure how that works, you immediately stop what you're doing, and you back it up. No explanation needed. and if you want to, you can call for a break after. I'll link to John's original Google Doc about this, as it can be a real helpful tool, especially in today's age of everyone playing Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds games online. I'd like to give a big thank you to user Tired Pandastic for your story, and I wish you much better luck on your next game. Thank you for stopping by on the Crow's Perch, and if you liked this video, please leave a like on it, and if you'd want to see more of my content, please subscribe to the channel, as the Crow's Perch dives weekly into RPG horror stories. And like I said before, be sure to check out our Discord. Until next time, as the crow flies,